Methodology of F&B control and personnel of F&B control. Food and beverage control may be defined as the guidance and regulation of the cost and revenue of operating the catering activity in the hotels, restaurant, hospitals, schools, employee, and other establishments. Food and beverage control essentially means controlling the behavior of the people and the processes responsible for the expenses. So when you say control, it's the process by which a manager attempts to direct, regulate, and restrain the action of people to achieve the desired goal. The methodology of food and beverage control may be broadly be envisaged under the three phases. Phase 1, planning phase. Phase 2, operational phase. And phase 3 is post-operational phase. Planning phase is when the project plans are documented, the process deliverables and requirements are defined, the project schedule is created. Means it involves creating a set of plans to help guide your team through the implementation and closure phases of that project. Operational phase. This phase during construction in which the flow of the stress in the medium through which the tunnel advance is deviated. Means it proceeds hand in hand with the monitoring phase, and it is also a period of time in which the design and all the operating decisions are monitored perfectly. Post-operational management. Based on comparing and correcting the activities held in operation, need to observe measurement of performance, preparation, and comparison of various report and statement. This phase gives a chance to take corrective actions on the basis of feedback, further forecasting, and future planning. As you can see, this is the catering cycle of methodology of F&B control. This represents all food and beverages activities, perform an organization, and provide necessary directives to the owner of the catering establishment to follow the basics of food and beverage operations. The cost control cycle is a sequential flow diagram of the various issues of the food and beverage operation and management. We are done discussing the first one, planning phase, operational phase, post-operational phase. Let's proceed to financial policy. Financial policy that clarify the roles, authority, and responsibilities for essential financial management activities and decisions. Well, for me, a good financial policy should align with the overall goods of that organization and provide flexibility to operate within such policy. The best thing you do if you create financial policy, or I can say that a good financial policy, so you should determine why the policy is needed and explanation of why. For example, all return requests and refunds must be cleared by a business owner and define terms of the policy for our returns. For example, you might include the caveat that broken or damaged item returns do not need business approval. So in that way, you are doing the proper way in creating a financial policy in case if you have a small business. Okay, let's proceed to marketing policy. Marketing policy is similar to a business code of ethics, although some of the ethics than others. Each addresses aspect all responsible marketing and business consider most important. We can use the process of marketing to increase the reach of the company so that it can be recognized easily. Marketing is a very broad function that I know and also one of the most important aspects of the company. If marketing is done in planned and effective way, it can increase the profit of the company by a large margin. Okay, let's proceed to food and beverage policy. So the purpose of food and beverage policy is to enhance the customer experience with competent service and a positive culture that upholds a level of professionalism that equals the product being delivered across all mediums. So the aim of this policy is to provide management with consistent operational details in order to implement a structured and clear plan and to promote good communication through all mediums. And under the food and beverage policy, we have here the first one. I will read first before I will discuss each one by one later. First, purchasing. Second, receiving, storing and issuing, preparing, and sealing. Last is control feedback. Control feedback is to keep controlled variable close to its set point. This is achieved by using the difference between the set point and the controlled variables to determine the value of the input to the feedback controller. Example is when a sales goal is set, the sales team work to reach that goal for 3 months, and at the end of the 3 months period, managers review the result and determine whether the sales goal was achieved. Purchasing can be defined as a function concerned with the search, selection, purchase, receipt, and final use of a commodity in accordance with a catering policy. This will include raw materials and components for manufacturing and also production equipment. Receiving. In a large hotel, receiving is a specialized job. While receiving the food and beverage items, check delivery note to see the products delivered agree with it. So if you receive all the items, then list all the items received on the daily receiving report and accept the products by signing the delivery to avoid the unexpected things to happen. Storing and issuing. The main function of this department is to store and issue food and beverage items that pertain to food and beverages operation of the hotel. The best way for storing and issuing food supplies or food items should be stored in alphabetical sequence in their respective groups to prevent loss, theft, and spoilage, or you should follow the rules of FIFO, which is first in, first out. Preparing. A production number needs to be organized the right quantity of food at the correct standard of the required number of people, on time making the best possible use of staff, equipment, and materials available. Preparing is easy to understand because we do it every meals, right? By preparing food for our dinner, breakfast, and lunch. But in the hospitality, need to have a presentable preparation for us to impress the guest. Selling is a transaction where a good or service is being exchanged for money. It also refers to the process of persuading a person or organization to buy something. Means in selling, it is necessary to ensure that all items sold have been paid for and that money is received or credit has been authorized. This is necessary to keep control of the number of covers sold and the items sold. Post-operational phase of food and beverage control is concerned with 3 main points. First, food and beverage control reporting. Second, measurement of performance. And the third is corrective action. Food and beverage cost reporting provide accurate and up-to-date data for the preparation of periodical reports on current operations. Measurement of performance, monitoring and comparing actual performance with established standards. Corrective action, taking the appropriate action to correct deviation from standards where the necessary proper feedback of information to management, future forecasting, and planning whenever required. Personal management in F&B control. F&B control is the process by which manager try to direct, regulate, and restrain the actions of employees. A manager of an organization cannot be in all places at all times to observe how all the staff members are performing. The observation is usually made by the records and reports. The success or failure of if and we control really depends on the staff. Ideally, if they know the standards, understand the system and what is to be accomplished, and have a real desire to carry it out. The job specification for these employees follows the typical pattern. It is divided into three broad areas. First, technical, second, conceptual, and the last is human skills. Technical skills are the abilities and knowledge needed to perform specific tasks. Some examples include knowledge of programming languages, design programs, mechanical equipment, or tools. Conceptual are thinking skills which let you grasp complex ideas and come up with answers for difficult problems. Example, these types of skill might allow managers comprehend relations between different departments, link to them to the functioning of the entire company, and optimize how these elements interact. Human skills are the skills we use to relate to one another. Someone who possesses a strong human skills is likely very adept at social media for business purpose. A person with a strong human skills easily engages the audience potential customer or current customer. The example of human skills are the ability to relate to others, flexibility, good judgment, patience with others, active learning skills, genuine interest to others. So if you have this ability or skill in your organization, have a big chance to grow your company. Entry-level purchasing that consists of an orientation to the job and the company, formal instruction, and on-the-job training or OJT. So nowadays, you need to have a courage even if it's so hard, a competence, trust, patience, and a big good example to everyone for you to achieve your goal.